Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today and being a part of the Setting Up for Success panel. Welcome to TC. We're so excited to have you here. And let's just jump right into our panel. So my name is Alana Crosby. I'm an Assistant Director in the Office of Graduate Student Life and Development. And I have a whole list of people here today to help you learn a little bit more about how you can be successful as you start your TC journey. So I'll go ahead and invite them to join me. So we have Dr. Debbie Beaudry, who's joining us as a part of the Digital Futures Institute. We also have Sonia Jones from TCIT. We have Juwan Ocean from the Bursar. There's Karen Ross from Student Health and Wellness. Megan Massaro from the Registrar, and Christian Ramirez from Financial Aid. Thank you all so much for being a part of this panel today. I know our students are so excited to hear from all of you. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about if you all were starting as a TC student today, what are sort of the first three things you would do to set up your journey to be as successful as possible? We will start with you, Debbie.
Sure. Mine, since I'm in the area of technology, mine's really detailed in terms of technology, and it is to try things out before the first day of class. Try out Canvas, try out Zoom, just to make sure you can get on them and everything that you have works properly. The other, I have three, right? Okay. I don't know if those are two, but I will say that I'll count that as one. The second is to ask for help. There are people here at TC who are set up to help you with all of your questions, and with the technical, Sonia Jones will explain a little bit more about the service desk, but please take advantage of all that you have available to you. We have workshops and we have people available to provide support. And I think the third thing I would say is to be patient. This is our first semester back on campus for everybody, so we have staff and faculty who have been working hard all summer to make sure that it's a success for you. So just ask that you be patient with us and with yourselves as well. I feel like after the first couple of weeks, we'll all be in the flow.
You're so right, Debbie. Thank you so much. And maybe that's a good transition into you, Sonia, if you want to take that question.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I would say the first three things, well, the first thing I would do if I were a new student would be, once you're on campus, you'll definitely need to connect to our secure Wi-Fi. All students have the options to connect to Eduroam or connect as a guest. The thing is, if you connect as a guest, that access only lasts for 24 hours. So I would highly recommend Eduroam. And our TC, the MyTC portal, you can access it, and it gives you all the student resources that you need for day one. I would think the second most important thing I would do would learn about the service desk, as Debbie mentioned. The service desk is located in 60 Grace Dodge. If you're going to the dining hall, you can't miss it. The service desk is great because it allows you, or the connection between the service desk and you, it's fantastic because you're going to have time to call them on the phone, which is 212-678-3300. You can create a service ticket if you're having trouble with printing or knowing where to find certain software or technical issues. And if you create a ticket, that is also found on the service, on the MyTC portal. There's a little support button circled in red. You'll be able to contact them that way and create an incident. So they're just a great resource for all of your technical needs or issues. And then I think the last thing I would recommend the first few days of school would be, I'll say phishing. Phishing is a type of malware, and it's very prevalent, even at Teachers College. We've had several cases of phishing attempts, and we don't want you to be one of the victims of phishing. So be really careful of what you're clicking. If you receive an email that looks suspicious, contact the service desk immediately. Those would be my three things.
Thank you so much. What about you, John? What would be your three things that you would do?
The first thing that I would do is, being that I work in a bursar's office, I would just make sure that my finances are in order. And if they're not, I would definitely inquire. Our office is located at 133 Thompson Hall. You could definitely enroll in payment plans, and we can walk you through on how to do that. We can walk you through on how to make a payment online, assist you with any third-party questions that you may have. And if you're expecting any financial aid or anything like that, then we would refer you to the financial aid office. The second thing that I would have in order is definitely, as Sonia and Debbie mentioned, is making sure that the technology services is in order, you know. And the third thing that I would do is making sure that all the classes that I registered for is listed. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Great, thank you so much. And speaking of payment and having finances in order, I mean, we can go over to you, Christian, to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, sure. The main one would be, like Julan said, make sure your finance are all set for the fall and spring semester. If you haven't done so already, make sure you complete the FAFSA application if eligible. Other than that, speak to your financial aid liaison. Make sure you try to get an appointment in to have a one-on-one conversation with them. And my last one would be, make sure that you every day you're checking on your email, because that's where we send all our notifications or any updates. So if not every day, and then at least every other day, just to see if there's anything missing on the student's end or anything like that.
It's very true. Email is so important. I know that TC students get a lot of emails from TC, but so many of them are very important. Let's go over to you, Megan. What would be your 3 things?
Sure. Well, Julan kind of stole one of mine, but I will reiterate it. So the actual registration through our database is called Banner, and it's your TC portal, but then your faculty will use Canvas for their courses, and that's where all of your coursework will be. If you are in Canvas, but you do not see the course on your MyTC portal, contact the registrar's office as soon as possible, because just because you're in Canvas doesn't mean that you're officially registered for the class. So that's number 1, that's huge. Number 2 is definitely make yourself knowledgeable about the academic calendar. We are a deadline-driven institution like all higher ed institutions. So there's a period of time during which you can add or drop your classes without penalty. Once that ends, then you'll run into percentages and things like that. So just make sure that you are well aware of the academic calendar so that you don't miss any deadlines. So like I said, the airdrop period will be there. The period in which you can adjust credits for your courses, the time in which, a little bit down the line, you'll apply for graduation, everything will be on the academic calendar. So just make sure that you find that and kind of not commit it to memory necessarily, but know where to look for it. And the third thing is to use your degree audit. So on your TC portal there, you'll see a link and it will say degree audit. And on that degree audit will be everything that you need to do in order to graduate. And that's what we officially use. So as you're going throughout your career, go ahead and log into your degree audit a couple times this semester just to make sure that you're doing everything in the appropriate order. And this way, when it comes to the end of your time here and you're set to graduate, there won't be any snags. So there's my big 3.
Perfect, thank you. And then last but not least, Karen, what about on your end?
So many things I can talk about in terms of, the most successful things I can do being here at TC, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So the first thing I would mention is just being able to access campus, right? So there are new requirements in place for all students in terms of being able to access campus. So of course you have to make sure that you give in a PCR test that was taken within the 14 days that you plan to access campus, that you complete the daily health screening, that you complete the EHS training, and that you give in your COVID vaccination for with an approved, WHO approved vaccination. So the second thing I would mention is to keep in mind all of the dates. As Megan mentioned, we are deadline driven. So there are several dates from our office that you have to keep in mind. So for example, September 8th is the deadline to give in MMR records, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, and the meningitis response form. And lastly, keep in mind that September 30th is the last day for you to be able to enroll in and waive the student health insurance. I'll speak more about that later, of course, but keep in mind these two dates, September 8th and September 30th.
Lots of important dates all around. Thank you so much, Karen. I have another question for all of you. So obviously there are times when students may have a very specific question to them that they need one-on-one guidance. What would be the best way for them to be able to contact you or others within your office? And we can start with Julan. Oh, I think you're still muted.
You can either email us at bursar@tc.edu, or you can give us a call at 212-678-3054, or you could stop by the office, but we do have limited hours. So the best option would be to either email us or to call us so that we can set up a one-on-one with you. And it could either be remote or in person.
Great, thank you. What about for you, Christian?
The best way would be email. At this moment right now, our email is financialaid@tc.columbia.edu. But if you do have access to your liaison's email, you should send CC them on that email also, just so either way, it's probably going to be forwarded to them if you send it to the general inbox. If you want to contact us via phone, our number is 212-678-3714.
Awesome, thank you. What about for you, Megan?
Same as everyone else. The best way to contact us is email. We have 3 folks who check our registrar inbox and will give out the emails to the appropriate person. So the account is registrar@tc.columbia.edu, and that's really the best way to reach us.
Awesome. And Karen?
So on my end, same as everyone else, the best way to reach us is through health-immunization@tc.edu. That way we can set up a remote appointment, of course, as we are appointment only, or you can give us a call at 212-678-3619.
Great. And then Debbie?
Sure. You can access technology support by clicking. I think the easiest thing to do is to open up a service desk ticket, which I feel like Sonia and I have some of the same answers here. But if you click on, when you're logged into the MyTC portal, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a red button that says support. Click on that, and that will open up a ticket, and then it will get routed either to DFI or to TCIT. I will say also, in addition to that, we have Canvas support available directly from Canvas, and they are available 24/7. So Canvas provides that support. They can get into your courses and see. So if you have a very specific question at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, you can call them, you can chat with them, or you can open up a ticket and they can answer the question for you. So when you're in Canvas, on the left-hand side, there's a little help button. And when you click on that, it will give you a phone number and the ability to chat. And we've gotten very good feedback with their ability to support students.
And Sonia, did you have anything to add to that?
Nope, I think Debbie covered it perfectly.
Great, thank you. And before I move on, we have some questions that are more specific for each of our panelists, but as you can see on the bottom of your screen, there is a way for you to submit questions directly to our panelists at the link there. So please feel free to submit any questions you have that haven't come up during the time that, during the questions that I ask them. So I'm going to pass it on over to Julan to talk a little bit more about what options do students have to pay their bill.
Okay. So you can pay your bill using the MyTC portal with a US bank account. So you would just log on to your MyTC and you would make a payment. If you're an international student and you do not have a US bank account, you have the option of paying through Western Union. And once you click on the MyTC portal, you'll see that option as a drop down as well. If you choose not to do the MyTC portal and would like to wire the funds to us, then you would need to contact our office and we will provide you with our banking details. Another option is you can mail in a check to make a payment, or you can come to our office and drop off a check to make the payment as well. Please note that we do not accept any credit cards or debit cards for tuition at all. So again, you would have to pay either using a US bank account, savings or checking account, wire transfer, money order is acceptable. We accept cash as well, but please note if you do come to the office with cash and you're submitting $10,000 in cash or above, we have to report it to the IRS, and we'll be doing that at that time that you're there making a payment. And we also do offer a deferred payment plan, which would be four installments, plus a $50 installment fee. And for that, you would also need to use a US bank account. And for anything else, you can definitely contact us and we could walk you through how to do all of these things. And this information is also available on our website.
Great, thank you so much. Such important information that I'm sure your students really wanted to know.
Yeah.
Moving over to more financial aid related questions. Christian, how would students learn what aid awards they've received from TC and how do they accept those?
Sure. Usually when we generate a financial aid award package to students, we send out an email to them. We'll let them know where to go. Usually they'll
I think we might have lost you. I think we might have lost Christian. That's okay. That happens. We'll come back to him. Oh, actually, I think we
Sorry about that.
No worries.
It was weird. So usually we send emails out to all students letting them know they have been packaged with a financial aid award letter. It will outline where to go to accept that award package. Students will go onto their portal account and then click on the financial aid tab, and then they could view their award package there. The standard award package, if you're eligible to complete a FAFSA application, will include two loans. One loan is the unsubsidized loan, which is usually $20,500, and the rest will be the Graduate Plus loan. We package students up to their cost of attendance. And the cost of attendance is based on how many credits they're planning on enrolling in for the fall and spring semester. Then if they indicated if they want federal work study on their FAFSA application, we'll try to include that in the package as well. This standard package does not include scholarships. So if you are eligible for a scholarship, that will be on the account already to view on the portal account. Great,
thank you. And if for some reason a student doesn't want to accept all or part of their financial aid awards, what would they do?
They do have the options to either decline the award or put in a partial amount for the awards that are offered to them. So those are their two options.
Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. Megan, question for you is, how long does a student have to decide what classes they want to take each semester?
Sure. So registration will begin about not quite a month before the end of the term. And then you have whatever the break is, whether it's summer or winter break, The add drop period in each term is the first 2 weeks of the semester. So during that time, you can adjust your schedule without financial penalty. Once the add drop period ends, you can no longer add courses unless they start later in the term, and that'll be clearly noted on the course search we have. In the fall, we have a number of classes that begin in October-ish, so you would be able to add those classes. You can still withdraw from classes online at that time, but that is, not a full drop, and it would be a withdrawal that would be on your record, and there's a period of time for refunds. But the adjustment period is the first 2 weeks of the term.
Got it. Thank you. Moving on over to student health and wellness. I know a lot of students have questions about immunization records and insurance and all of that. So for you, Karen, the insurance process is one that all new students have to navigate. So what should students be considering as they're determining whether or not to opt into the insurance plan?
Think of a few ways to answer that question in particular. So you have to also consider the fact that for some students, they're in those categories where the health insurance will be mandatory for them, right? So they won't have an option to opt out. And so that mainly falls for our residential students, those who are in 90 more billable credits, which are considered full-time, and our international students. But also keep in mind that you can apply for a waiver or an exception. So a waiver for domestic students and an exception for international students. But you also have to show that you have comparable insurance in order to apply for the waiver or the exception. So the other things in terms of considering whether or not you want to opt into the health insurance, because it is still an option for our part-time students, right? So think about the fact that it's a $0 deductible, which is the money that you pay before the insurance pays. So for any network provider, it's a $0 deductible. And also think about the fact that the premium is $4,836 for the entire year. So you're billed for it separately. So for the fall semester, you're billed $1,842, which is also why it's very important to pay attention to your bill. And then for the second half of the year, which is January 1st all the way up to August 14th, the premium is $2,994. So again, for a summation of $4,836. So those are the things that you may want to think about in terms of being able to opt in. But we also have a comparative coverage tool on our website so that you can look at all the benefits of using the Aetna student health insurance in comparison to the other insurance that you may be thinking of using.
Great. And then where and when will students see these changes for their insurance plan, or these charges, sorry?
Oh, great question. So usually if it is a case that you plan to apply for a waiver and exception, we always say that give it a maximum of 72 hours to see a change on your bill. But after that time, if you don't see any changes, if you've either tried to waive or you tried to opt into it, always contact us at health-immunization@tc.edu, excuse me.
Thanks. And then approximately how long will it take to see the fees or reversal of fees made effective on the student account?
Right, so about 24 to 48 hours, but we always say if it's going past 72 hours and you don't see any changes, please contact us so that we can assist you, because sometimes it's a matter of troubleshooting.
Got it, thank you. And someone just submitted a question for you as well. So where's the best place to get a PCR test?
Oh, so if you are a student that has paid the health and related services fee, which is also billed separately for the fall and spring semesters, which is $623. And again, for that fee, they're mandatory categories. Once again, if you're a full-time student with 91 billable credits, if you're a residential student, or if you're an international student, it's mandatory and it's a Columbia mandate. So if you pay the health and related services fee, you can always go to Columbia Medical Services in order to get a PCR test. But I will also say if you're here in the city, you can go to newyorkcity.gov and you can find a testing site.
Thank you, thank you. Debbie and Sonia, I have a couple questions for you. So what tech resources are available to students at TC to support their studies?
Sure. I can answer some specific that are related to learning and also to research. We have Canvas is our learning management system. All students have a Zoom Pro account for the time that you are enrolled at TC. So you have all of the features that anybody, even a faculty member, has with Zoom. We also have a digital storage platform for video and audio called TC Digital Media. So if you need to create videos, you have unlimited storage there as well for your time at TC. We also have research software available to all students. We have Qualtrics, which is a professional survey tool. If you've ever used SurveyMonkey, this is a much more professional version and with lots more features than something like SurveyMonkey. And we have SPSS for quantitative analysis for your research, and we have NVivo for qualitative analysis. Sonia, would you like to add anything else?
Yep, I would say also Google Suite. All students have access to Google Suite, and Google Apps for Education is also available to you. Great way to store and save documentation so you don't have to save it on your hard drive of your computer. It's much safer. And it's free.
Wonderful. And then with all of the various access points online, what should students be aware of when they're using TC's digital spaces?
I'll start this one, Debbie. A couple of things I believe. I mentioned TC Secure Wi-Fi already. And of course, the service desk is definitely key for all your technical questions or any problems you're having with any services. But you also need to make sure you have an antivirus software on your laptops or desktops. Columbia University IT offers for 1 year free. Students can get a software called Malwarebytes. It's accessible to you on the MyTC portal. Again, if you go to the MyTC portal and then do a search for TCIT, if you do that search, it'll bring you right to the TCIT page and you'll see all the student resources. So I would definitely say, but if you already have antivirus software, you don't need another one, because what happens is they kind of fight against each other and it's not doing the job that you need it to do. Another thing I would say would be to make sure you take advantage of the computer labs. We have one in 242 Horace Mann, where you can print, gain access to particular software that you might be interested in using. And there's one also in 345 Macy. At this moment, the schedule is a little different than it will be for fall. Again, check the TCIT webpage and you can see what times are available for students to access the lab. However, you will need to contact the service desk if you need access to the lab, because currently for the summer, there's nobody manning the labs. So contact them and they can help you. Debbie, you want to add something?
Yes, I'd like to add also, if you go to the MyTC portal, there's a tab at the top that says Student Resources. If you scroll down, there's a section that has links to all of the software that you have available to you as a student. The link to TC Zoom and Canvas and Qualtrics and SPSS and NVivo that I spoke about. So the portal is the best way to get in. Always use your TC Uni and password to log in. For all of these products, we've licensed them and vetted them. So your most secure way to access everything is by using your TC login credentials.
Great, thank you all so much. So that concludes the questions that I have for all of you, but I know our students have plenty that they're still sending our way. And for those of you who are watching, keep sending in the questions. We want to hear them all. I know there's a lot of new information that you're learning, and we are here to help. So the first question I'll bring up is, if I pay my full tuition now and decide to drop a class before September 21st, how will I be reimbursed? Juan, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so a student that drops the course by September 21st will be fully reimbursed. If they're enrolled in E-Refund, then the refund will be directly deposited into their U.S. bank account. If they're not enrolled in E-Refund, then a check would be generated and mailed to the address on file.
Great. And then a question for financial aid. Is it still possible to submit a scholarship appeal form?
Yes, yes, it is. There's actually no deadline usually for the appeal form. Pretty much, you can send it anytime during the academic year.
Great, thank you. While we're waiting for some more questions, oh, just kidding, another one just popped up. When should we see the application of our financial aid awards in our bill, for either Christian or Juan?
In terms of financial aid, right now you probably might see it as a memo status, which is pretty much pending. Oh
no, we lost Christian again. Joan, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Yeah. So as he was saying that you would see it memoed on your on the MyTC portal, or on your bill, you would see it under the authorized amount.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My Wi-Fi keeps going in and out. But yeah, in terms, I don't know if Julan already spoke about this, but right now the award should be at a memo status. It should be dispersed 10 days prior to the start of the semester. If it's not dispersed, it will eventually be dispersed onto the account unless you're missing requirements. Check on the portal account to see any type of missing requirements. It'll be under the to-do list under the financial aid tab. And I think that answers the question.
Thank you both so much. For Karen or Sonia, or both of you, where do students complete the daily health screening each day? So are you okay with taking this one? I think Karen's having some audio issues.
Yeah, it's on the TC portal, and I also believe under student health and wellness. If you go to the TC portal, search student health and wellness, it'll take you to the TC preparedness page. From the TC preparedness website, you'll see information about what the steps are to make sure you're following the right precautions. Karen, do I have that right? Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me, everyone? Okay. So yes, that, and you can also use the app, the TC app, where you can just do the daily health screening from the app itself, and also the TC preparedness website, where it has all the information in terms of campus access.
Yeah, it's a great idea to bookmark that TC preparedness website. So you just always have it handy in your phone, your laptop, wherever you need to access it.
Alana, can I add a tip on that? It's just for students to try to do the daily health screening. You don't have to do it. I mean, you do have to do it on that day, but you don't have to wait. You can try it ahead of time after you think you've submitted everything, just to make sure that you get the check, the green circle with the check that says it's okay for you to come on that day. So do it the day you're going in, but you don't have to just wait that time. Try it beforehand to make sure everything is in order for you to come on campus.
Great tip. Another question for you, Debbie, is who would be best to talk to if I would like advice on buying a new laptop, specifically for software compatibility?
Yeah, you would be best if you open up a service desk ticket. They actually handle all of those types of questions in terms of what you would need, what type of what type of computer you would need for certain software.
Got it. For Karen, question for you about student health insurance. Has student health insurance coverage already started regardless of full payment?
Okay, so the period of coverage started already. So regardless of when you pay your tuition, coverage starts on August 15th, 2021, and it lasts all the way until August 14th, 2021. The open enrollment period, as I was discussing before, has begun already since July 15th, and it closes on September 30th. And that's for all incoming students, new and continuing, for the fall semester.
Thank you. Another question for you is, should we receive confirmation after submitting immunization records? And if we haven't, should we reach out or resubmit?
Great question. So you should receive confirmation whether or not we received your records and rather that it was approved. We usually reach out to you either way, whether or not records are approved or denied.
Thank you. While we're waiting for some more questions to come in. Oh, just kidding. Literally, as soon as I keep saying that, more questions just flood in. So for Christian, if I decline a loan, but then need it further along in the semester, will it still be available to me?
Yes, if you're going to decline it now and you realize that you need it halfway through the semester, you just have to, you could either reach out to your financial aid liaison and we could give you the loan change request form to fill out, or you could just find the form on the resources page on the financial aid webpage.
Great. And then are TC scholarships guaranteed for the duration of student studies or for their degree program?
With TC scholarships, those are only usually good for the first year of study. After the first year, you can submit an appeal form to see if you could be granted a scholarship. Usually, programs has its own allocation of points as well. So if your program wants to give you tuition points to cover, help you cover your tuition bill, they can, but it's up to the discretion of the program.
Great, thank you. Back to you, Karen. So if your negative PCR test is past the 14 days, that's the requirement, can you still access campus?
Unfortunately, you won't be able to access campus. So just to try to keep our community as safe as possible, we're asking that all students given PCR tests that are within at least 14 days of campus access.
Thank you. Another financially related question for you, Christian, is will I still receive my financial aid if I have not yet completed my work study forms?
With work study, those forms, it does not hinder you from receiving your other aid. So if you're receiving scholarships or federal aid, such as your loans, outstanding work study forms is not going to affect your ability to use your loans or scholarships.
And then also, can students apply for scholarships once they've started their programs?
Yes, we have links on our website under the resources for external scholarships. You could start doing that, submitting those applications. We also have some special scholarships that have specific deadline dates. So if the student has not already done so, I do suggest you visit our website to view the different types of scholarships they could apply for.
Thank you. Karen, if you opted for in-person classes but might not be feeling well, is it possible to attend the class virtually?
Ooh, so I know that more information is forthcoming with that. I don't know if you want to jump in with this also, Megan, but my understanding is that faculty may be able to give you that option. But like I said, more information is forthcoming. I'm not sure what has been solidified yet.
Yeah, exactly right. More information is forthcoming. All classrooms should be Zoom capable, but we're coming up with a mechanism for that. So we'll report back with a email.
Thank you. Also for you, Karen, is where should we submit our waiver request for TC health insurance? Oh, can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay, so where should students submit their waiver request for TC health insurance?
You just visit the My TC portal and you just follow the steps in terms of submitting your waiver or an exception. Like I said, as a domestic student, you would be submitting a waiver. As an international student, you'd be submitting an exception. And if you're having issues with that, please contact us via email so that we can assist you.
And then another question's coming up, where can I submit the proof of a negative COVID test and how long will it take to get approved? Still not able to hear? Can you see it on the screen? While we're waiting, because I know that Karen's having some audio issues, I have a question for you, Megan. Is there anything extra that TC students have to do in order to access the main Columbia campus, specifically maybe when trying to access the Butler Library, because they might have a different health checking system?
That is a very good question. I was under the impression that our IDs would work over there. I will get confirmation about that, and we'll figure out how to get you that information. I believe there was correspondence or communication between the Columbia system and our system. Karen, I don't know if you can hear me, but correct me if I'm wrong. So I was not aware that there would be a different system for that. I'll defer to Karen if she knows.
So what's supposed to happen at this point is that our TC Daily Health Screening will be enough for you to also access main campus. You will not have to use the Reopen CU app.
Good to know. And then Karen, for you, I think this was asked before, but just to clarify for everyone, where can students submit the proof of a negative COVID test and how long will it take to get approved?
Right. So you can submit your test to covidstudentcare@tc.edu, and approval should take 24 to 48 hours. Please wait until you get the green check before you come to campus. Otherwise, you will receive the red X and you'll be waiting at Zenkel. There it is.
Yes, the green check is the best. So make sure you have that before coming to campus. Okay, a question for you, Christian, is if we have scholarships and loans covering tuition, do those get automatically applied? Do we need to pay the balance first and get reimbursed?
No, if you have the scholarships and loan going already on your account at an accepted status and everything is done on the to-do list, it's pretty much going to go automatically towards your tuition bill.
And then is there anything that you wanted to share maybe about the E-Refund process or what that even is for students who might be unaware?
I'll jump in on this because it's a first-star question. For E-Refund, you would need a U.S. bank account. So you would just enroll using the MyTC portal. And with the E-Refund, it's the fastest and most safest way to get your reimbursement if you're eligible for one. So we are encouraging all students to enroll in E-Refund. And if you're not enrolled in E-Refund, then a check will be mailed to your address that we have on file.
Thank you, Jolande. Another question for you, Jolande, is what is the best way for international students studying from home to pay their tuition balance?
So we have we have Western Union, which guarantees the rate for 72 hours, and that can be accessed through the MyTC portal. So you would see a drop down for either Western Union or you would enter your banking information. But obviously you would be selecting the Western Union option and you would follow the directions from there. If you choose not to go that route and would like to wire the funds directly to our bank account, then you would need to contact our office and we could provide you with our banking details.
Great, thank you. And going back over to you, Christian, when will scholarships be applied so that students can see how much they owe?
For scholarships, stipends, private loans, those are set to be dispersed on September 8th. And for loans, that's September 22nd.
Perfect. Megan, so on this person's student schedule, one of the classes has no room required in the where column. So what does this mean about that course?
Sure, well, it could be one of two things. It could be an online course, and if you look on the course search, there'll be a green online indicator on the TC website, or it could be the type of course where the instructor will set up meetings with the students, and so we don't assign a classroom for it, and they would meet either in their office or via Zoom or something along those lines. You should ask the instructor of the class what's going on with it, and if anything, they can then contact us if they need a room assigned. But at present, it just means a room wasn't assigned because of one of those two reasons.
Makes sense. There's a question here that actually I can answer. So is there a time or place where new students can get a tour of Teachers College? Yes, there is indeed. So we're going to be doing tours that are led by staff members at TC starting the week of September 15th. You can sign up for those. They were sent to you via email, so you can look for it in your email inbox. Otherwise, it's on the website, on the MyTC portal, on our Instagram, the Graduate Student Life and Development Instagram, basically anywhere where you can find information about TC, you can find the sign up link for that, as well as other events that are happening for new students or students who started during the pandemic and who have never been to campus. Okay, for Debbie or Sonia, can TC IT help if we encounter technical issues with our computers? Maybe like the trackpad isn't working or the computer's lagging, something along those lines.
The service desk can give you suggestions on things to look at, offer some technical support, but they will not, you can't drop your computer off to the service desk if it's your personal computer. You can call them and explain what's going on, and they will definitely try to give you some advice or things to look at to help you out.
Thank you. For Christian or Julant, are there any scholarships available for the purchase of electronics, like a laptop?
With scholarships, no, there's no specific scholarship meant for expenses such as book supplies, laptops. But we do include that in the cost of attendance. So if a student needs extra money or funding to cover these expenses, they can take it out in a loan. But what will happen is once the tuition is paid off in full, it will create a refund, and they can, once they get that refund, they can use those funds to cover those expenses.
Great, thank you. I think we're now going to go ahead and do a little bit of clarification about COVID testing, because it sounds like a lot of you have questions about that. So pass over to you, Karen, to talk a little bit more about PCR testing and how regularly does that testing need to take place?
So there's just one gateway test that needs to take place. So as long as it was administered after May 17th, but it has to be submitted within 14 days that you plan to access campus. So never mind the fact that I said May 17th. It has to be within 14 days of your plan to access campus. And it's just one test. Now, if it is the case that you're experiencing any symptoms, of course, then you would have to get tested, and then we have to figure out from there if it's a case where we're hoping that you're not positive or anything like that. But then there's other planning that needs to go in place. But you only need one test in order to access campus, and that has to be within the 14 days of your plan to access campus. That is it.
So, do students have to take a PCR test every, maybe Megan, if you can help, if Karen can't hear. Do students have to take a PCR test every 14 days, or is it strictly if we haven't been on campus yet?
It's strictly if you haven't been on campus. So it's a gateway test. That being said, there are students who will receive a medical vaccine what's the word that I'm trying to find? Waiver, kind of, but it's not that. They will have to be tested every 2 weeks. Exemption, exactly, very good, exemption. They will be tested every 2 weeks. If you have submitted your COVID test results, you take one gateway PCR test that has to be dated within 2 weeks prior to your first accessing of campus. So let's say that you are not a resident student, you haven't moved in yet, and you're just going to come to class starting on September 8th. It has to be within the 2 weeks prior to September 8th. Residential students, that is a good question. So, Karen, yeah.
Maybe now? Okay. So for residential students, it will have to be within the 2 weeks that you plan to move in. So that September 8th date doesn't apply to you. It's just based on when you plan to move in. As far as exemptions go, if you aren't approved for an exemption, you have to be tested every week, actually. And if you aren't submitting your test every week, then you will risk not being able to access campus if you don't give it in time.
So just to clarify, if someone's attending class in person for the entire fall semester, do they need to submit a PCR test every 2 weeks?
No, just one gateway test within the 2 weeks that you plan to access campus. Just one. If you are a person who has been approved for an exemption, either medical or religious, then you will have to submit to weekly testing.
Got it. And will residential students be randomly selected for testing? Can you hear Karen? Or if Megan, anyone else?
I don't know the answer to that one. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Apologies that I misspoke. It is every week, not every 2 weeks.
I'm back again.
Oh, great. Karen, do you know if residential students will randomly be selected for testing?
Great question. So not just residential students, but all students will be subject to random testing at Columbia Health.
Great.
And even so, that will be within every 2 weeks or so.
Thank you. Thank you. Feel free to keep submitting questions. We still have a little bit of time left. I have a question while we're waiting for some more to come in. It's more of like a fun question, especially for those of you who have been on campus pre-pandemic. What are some favorite places at TC you like to go to? Certain rooms or areas around TC, or even over at Columbia? And the students are coming back to campus.
I was only on campus for 4 months before we went home. And so the one place that I knew how to walk to was the Grace Dodge dining room, which looks like Hogwarts. So it is one of probably my favorite spot because it's the one place I know how to get to.
It is very much like Hogwarts. I agree. Other favorite places? I know that I have always enjoyed going over to like Columbia's campus to like the main walkway, and there will be people sitting out there, especially when it's warmer out, but not too hot and humid. Just like sunbathing and hanging out with friends and stuff like that. That's always a fun place to go. Sonia, did you have something?
I was kind of say something similar, but Joe's Coffee across the street on Columbia campus is great coffee. But I know that we have a new coffee. Well, it's not new, but we have a new vendor that's taken over our coffee place at Everett Lounge too. So that should be nice as well.
But Joe really is the best coffee.
Okay, we have a couple more questions that have come through. So Karen, can you hear? Okay, great. So this person says, I'm an international student on a J1. My wife, therefore, on a J2 is attending another school this year. Can I submit a health insurance exemption if I enroll as a dependent in her plan?
You absolutely can, yes. So all of the waivers and the exception applications are reviewed. Of course, we don't guarantee approval, but please, by all means, submit.
Thank you. And then another one for you, Karen, is do you have to take the PCR test at TC, or can you submit one that you took somewhere else? Oh no. Lots of health insurance questions. We'll get back to those, but I have one for you, Megan. Are all classes being offered both in person and virtually?
Right. So all classes will be accessible via Zoom for students who were approved as online learners. So we do have a certain amount of courses that are being offered fully online, and then a certain amount of courses that are being offered in person. There are students who requested permission to remain online learners for this term. So any in-person course can be offered virtually for those students. So yes, that's the answer to that.
Great. And then another question for you, Megan, is can you access campus if you haven't submitted your PCR test just yet?
No. You have to have submitted the PCR tests within the 2 weeks in order to get that green check that I showed everybody. So if that's not submitted, you won't be able to have that green check.
Great. Karen, I think you're back, right? Can you hear? No? Just kidding. For another question for you, Megan, is it possible to get into a course that doesn't have any space left?
Yes, if the instructor of that course gives you permission to enroll in that course, then they'll let us know in the registrar's office and we will override you in. It's possible.
So you should contact their faculty.
Yeah, you should speak to the faculty teaching the course. They're the only ones who can give that approval.
Okay. For you, Christian, so if I accept my work study amount in the full amount, am I required to work to redeem the full amount? Are there any fees or penalties if you don't? Or vice versa? Can you ask for more?
Sure. The way that work study works is that amount that you see on your award package indicates the maximum you could actually earn for the whole academic year. So the standard is usually $9,000. It doesn't mean that you're going to earn up to $9,000. It's pretty much based on how many hours you work per week. The max amount of hours you can work per week is up to 20 hours. And then you pretty much get paid bi-weekly. And yeah, so if you don't reach the $9,000, it's not going to affect anything. It's just the amount that you earn is based on the amount of hours you work.
Okay. I don't know, Karen, if you can hear. You can? No.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll make it work. Megan, if you are an in-person student but have a COVID or another illness-related issue, maybe your child is in quarantine, something along those lines, can we participate on Zoom during that time period?
We discussed this a little bit earlier. We're still coming up with a mechanism for that. At present, it's only students who were given the permission to remain an online learner who are able to do that. But we're still in discussions about this exact issue because we know it as one. So we'll be in touch about that.
Okay. And kind of related is how do we get approved to be an online learner for the fall?
Right. So a while back, there was a survey sent out to all students that should have been submitted a while ago. But if you were unable to complete that or didn't receive it, you can reach out to Student Affairs. It's Dr. Tom Rock, I think, is making that final determination. So if you reach out to Student Affairs, they can help you with that.
And then I don't know if this is a question that you could answer, Megan, but what constitutes as fully vaccinated? As an international student, this person just got vaccinated here and will not be considered fully vaccinated in time for the first 3 days of class. Can they be exempted for entering class on those first days?
I believe so, but I will have to defer to Karen on this one. I think Karen has the answer to this one.
So in terms of being fully vaccinated, you have to undergo a vaccination that is approved by the World Health Organization, right? And so in order to be fully vaccinated, you have to make sure it's a vaccination that's approved by them, and that it is after 14 days to make sure there's efficacy, of course, in a vaccination before you come to campus. So that is what constitutes you as being fully vaccinated. But if it is a case that you're not fully vaccinated by the time your classes begin, that's when you will reach out to us at covetstudentcare@tc.edu so that we can assist you in terms of accessing classes remotely until you're fully vaccinated.
Thank you, Karen. Karen, for you,
if the question is from me, Alana, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can't hear. All right, no worries. Question here about student study spaces and if they will be included on the campus tours. Yes. The campus tour will primarily be within the first and basement levels of the first floor and basement levels of TC, but throughout the tour we'll go over different spaces such as the library and other rooms around campus where you can study, and more information about other floors will be provided during that tour. Besides the campus tour, something else that might be helpful as you're learning more about how to be successful at TC is signing up to get paired with a student life ambassador. So a student life ambassador is a fellow TC student who is either a student who has been at TC pre-pandemic or started during the pandemic, or we also have a few who are starting alongside you all for the fall 2021 semester. So you can be paired with them to be a part of their cohort, so you can meet other fellow and incoming students. And your ambassador will let you know if you're having issues figuring out who to contact for something. They can let you know who to contact. Or maybe you're just looking to make some friends. They can help you figure out different ways to get involved in student organizations, or they'll be planning different programs as well. So you can sign up to be paired with them. And is another great way to help you along as you start here at TC. Okay, I have a question that I'm going to open up to the group at large because you all might be able to answer this in different ways. So as a doctoral student, this person's been awarded a scholarship that covers 24 credits per year. Can they use those credits for summer courses? And is there anything that they should do or someone they should talk to about this?
So I could go ahead and answer that. So technically you can, if you want to redistribute your scholarship points in different ways. Usually we post it in terms of 24 credits per year. It will be 12 credits for the fall, 12 credits for the spring. If you want to change it around, like you want 5 credits for the fall, 5 credits for the spring, and then the rest in the summer, you could definitely do that. We have a form on our webpage. It's called the Scholarship Redistribution Form. You just have to submit that, indicate which award they want to change, and then submit that to their financial aid liaison.
Got it. Thank you. So we have about 10 minutes left for this session, so feel free to submit any other final questions you have so we can answer them now. Debbie, who should students reach out to about Canvas issues?
They have 2 choices. The service desk, they can open up a service desk ticket by going to the MyTC portal and clicking on the red support icon, or they can contact Canvas directly. If you go into Canvas, when you log into Canvas, on the left-hand side, there's a help icon. If you click on that, there's information for chat and phone call.
Thank you. Karen, are you still unable to hear?
I can hear.
Oh my gosh, yay, okay. I'll try to get in some questions fast while you still can. So do students have to take the PCR test at TC, or can they submit one that they took somewhere else?
you can submit a PCR test that you're taking somewhere else. It doesn't have to be the one taken at Columbia Health. And just to clarify, TC itself, Teachers College, does not administer PCR tests or the vaccinations. It is at Columbia Medical Services.
Great. And does the student health insurance cover COVID testing?
Yes.
Or are there recommendations on where to go?
Aetna Student Health Insurance covers COVID testing. And as I stated before, you can go to newyorkcity.gov to find the nearest location.
And oh, here's another question for you is how can students access their insurance cards? Will they be sent to them?
Wonderful question. So they're no longer sent to you. You can visit our Insurance and Immunization Records website at tc.edu/health. And there you'll find the Aetna Student Health Insurance website, and you'll be able to access your card online. It will not be sent to you.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Megan, some questions for you. Are there travel restrictions in place due to COVID right now?
I don't believe so because there are none from the state. So we will abide by the state's travel restrictions, which I don't believe there are any right now.
Okay. And then so the student says, if I travel for work periodically, can I apply for approval to attend courses online while I am out of the country?
Yeah, this is the same issue where we're coming up with a mechanism for that. So we'll be in touch about that. Got
it. And the last question for you right now is, what is the standard turnaround time for a student to see if they can take a course online from the college?
So I'm not sure what this question is. If the student is applying to be an online student, that would be through Student Affairs. I think it's a fairly quick turnaround time. I would say within like 3 business days, but don't quote me. You can contact Student Affairs about that for sure.
Great. Well, it looks like that is all the time that we have. I know that you all still might have a lot of questions, maybe that are more specific to your experience, which is fine. We will have some digital drop-in hours that you can attend to, ask those specific questions or get to hear a little bit more from the panelists who we have here. Here you can see more information about it. It's going to be tomorrow from 11 to 1, and you can join via the student engagement portal. And again, thank you all so much for all of your questions. They were very thoughtful and necessary. I know that a lot of the questions that were submitted are things that a lot of TC students are asking. We would love to hear what you thought about this panel. You can use this QR code or by this voting code to let us know your feedback. We would love to hear it. And then finally, we have some information about how to contact the different offices and the specific people who were here on the panel with us today. So feel free to take a photo of this, but you can also find all of their information on the TC website. So again, to all the attendees, welcome to TC. We are so excited to have you here. For those of you who are going to be learning in person and on campus with us, we're so excited to meet you. For those of you who are going to be remote learners, we're so excited to meet you virtually. We really cannot wait. And to all the panelists here, thank you so much for being here. It was so great getting to know a little bit more about what it's been like for you to prepare, for everyone to come back to campus. And I know the students really appreciate it. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.